Hey everybody, Keith Ellison here with another edition of Affording Your Life. I'm Keith Ellison, your Attorney General, and this is a special Black History Month edition. And I think Raela is the one who's going to ask the questions today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Before we get started, did you bring some folks with you today?
Yeah.
Tell me who they are.
My grandma and my grandpa.
And what's their name?
Wait,
Just say Granny.
Granny and Poppy.
Yeah, that's what you call them anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're here backing you up, right?
Yeah.
Y'all want to say hi or anything?
Hello.
All right.
You do a great job.
We know it. Okay, you ready to go? You ready to do it?
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
What does the Attorney General do?
The Attorney General is the top lawyer for the state of Minnesota and represents the state of Minnesota, whether all of the agencies, all of the boards, all of the commissions, and files lawsuits on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota and defends their rights and makes sure everybody's treated with fairness.
Okay.
Basically, I'm in the justice business.
Next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was it like growing up as a black boy in Detroit?
Well, I was born in the city of Detroit. And my mom, she was from the deep south, a place called Natchitoches, Louisiana. And my dad, his family was from Georgia, Burke County, Georgia. And my family, they all came up to Detroit, and some of them worked in the auto manufacturing plants. And that's where me and my brothers were born. And, it was, I tell you the truth, it was fun. I had two older brothers, and I had two younger brothers, and we used to play baseball, basketball, football, this ball, that ball. And my dad was, he made sure that he didn't take any mess. He made us do chores, and they were hard. And we had to study hard, too. And my dad said, you got to get them grades, man. Don't just think you're going to be playing ball all the time. You better get in there and study. And so, and he was one of those people who was serious about that. So me and my brothers, we grew up studying hard, playing hard. And, now my two older brothers still live in Detroit, and I moved to Minnesota many years ago. And then my two younger brothers, one of them is in Boston, the other one's in North Carolina.
Okay. What made you become an advocate for civil rights?
I became an advocate for civil rights because I believe everybody has a right to be treated with fairness. Now, this is kind of in my family history, So my grandfather was a guy named Frank Martinez, and he was from Louisiana. And he was organizing black voters in the 1950s. And in those days, if you were trying to organize black people to have the right to vote, they would do stuff to you. If you lived on the land of a white farmer, they'd kick you off of it. But he didn't. He had his own land. But they would kick people off whenever he tried to get black people to vote, and they lived as sharecroppers on somebody else's land. They'd say, Frank, we'd like to vote, but if we vote, where are we going to stay? Because Mr. J.D. Henry going to kick us off, And so he would deal with that. Sometimes they told him, we're not selling you gasoline. So he didn't have any gas for his car because they wanted to stop him from what he was doing. They'd call up the house and say mean, threatening things to my grandmother. And, they burned a cross across the street from the house one time. And so my mother grew up. She told us this. My mother had to move from Natchitoches to a city called Lafayette, Louisiana, because they were threatening to hurt my grandpa so much that they couldn't afford to have her at home because if they threw a bomb through the window, then they didn't want her to be there. So she was in Lafayette for a while, and then she came back to Natchitoches. She went to New Orleans and went to Xavier College, and then she came to Minnesota. But my whole life my parents talked to me about the importance of standing up for what was right. Don't back down. Don't be afraid. Live your life for other people, not just for yourself. So that's kind of the story for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Who were your role models growing up?
Well, even though I never met Frank Martinez because he died when my mom was 18 in a tractor accident, he's a role model for me. And so is my mother and father, they're role models. My older brother Leonard's a role model. But also Thurgood Marshall, who was the first black man on the Supreme Court of the United States, is a role model for me. And then also his role model is my role model. His role model is a man named Charles Hamilton Houston, Charlie Houston, who used to be the dean of Howard Law School and who really started the fight against legal segregation. And so I got a lot of heroes, and I advise you to get people who will help you along life's journey. It's a good idea.
Okay. How do you use your position to open up doors for others?
Well, we hire people who are really good, like your mom, and we also are looking for people who to do a great job. And some of those people are folks who don't always get an opportunity. They're people of color. They're people who are indigenous background, and so we make sure the door's open for everybody, not just for some. The other thing that we do is that we go out and we recruit. We talk to people all the time. We have community meetings where we will just go to a church or a mosque or a synagogue or a community center or a school and just tell people to come in and we'll just talk to them about whatever. So like last night, we were in Anoka County talking about wage theft. You know what a wages is? The money you get paid for a job. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about wage theft yesterday. And, tonight we're going to be talking about pollution because we sue people for polluting and making the neighborhood dirty and the air hard to breathe, which causes a disease called asthma. You ever heard of asthma? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's because the air is dirty, And so we're going to have a community meeting tonight in North Minneapolis. And so we reach out. There. We had 37 community meetings last year in 2019, and we're going to have at least that many this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How does music influence your turn?
Can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do it together.
This one.
Say it. It's activism.
Activism?
Say activism.
Activism.
That's a big word. You did a good job on that big old word. So music informs my activism because I love music, for one thing. I'm not very good at it, but I do play the guitar. I play all kind of percussion instruments like a conga and something called a cajon, which is a box-looking drum, and all kinds. I love music. I play music in public sometimes, but not very often because I have to do my job as Attorney General, right? Mm-hmm. But music inspires me. Like I love the work music of James Brown, Marvin Gaye. So the city I came from is Detroit, which is a big music town, Motown. And Minnesota is a big music place. You got Prince, Bob Dylan, and a whole lot of people like that. So to me, music is an inspiration, and inspiration is what we need to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Who are your favorite black musicians?
Well, Marvin Gaye is one of them. And then my favorite album is his album, What's Going On. And it's a great one. I mean, I bet your grandfather knows about it. Granny knows it too. But I also am a huge fan of people like Mahalia Jackson, who was a gospel singer. She inspired Martin Luther King. You heard of Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
Well, whenever he was feeling like, I don't know if we're going to be able to win, things are so hard, he would call her up and say, sing to me. And she would sing songs like, Take My Hand, Precious Lord, and that would give him a little bit of the power he needed to get back out there, and so there's a lot of great ones. I'm a big fan of the rappers, you know what I mean? I like a lot of great rappers out there who are very inspiring. Beyonce, I like her a lot. You like Beyonce?
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, he's one of the great ones, and you know that guy? Mm-mm. Kendrick Lamar he's a good rapper, But I like all kinds of music. I like music that's just instrumental. My wife likes a guy named Silvio Rodriguez, and all his songs are in Spanish because she's from Colombia. But they're very inspiring, very beautiful. So I like music. I don't care if it's in English, it's French, just instruments. As long as it's uplifting and inspiring, I like it a lot.
Okay. What advice would you give someone my age?
Study hard, be a good person, try to help others. Mm-hmm. Listen to Granny and Poppy and listen to Mom. Whenever you're feeling glad, you can write it down Or if you're feeling sad, you can write that down too, and just like express your feelings. Understand that telling someone no if they want you to do something that's not good is actually saying yes to yourself, right? Say yes to yourself.
Yes.
So if somebody wants you to do something that's not good, skip school, do something crazy, then you're like, no, I'm gonna stick with doing what's right. And I think you should read a lot. I would advise you to read every day. And I'm not just talking about schoolwork. I'm saying you should get some books about like Rosa Parks. You ever heard of Rosa Parks? What do you want to tell me about it?
We were learning about her because we were typing up all these different people about Black history.
Yeah, that's great. And so what if you got a book and learned all about her life? That'd be good.
I would be interested
Yes.
to doing it.
Yes, read about it. And then also learn how to write too. Like get a little book and tell mom that you don't really want anybody reading it, anybody except for you. And just write some of your private thoughts in it. You know what I mean? And that's a good way to learn how to express yourself. And it'll also help you improve your writing. And it'll help you learn how to spell better and write sentences better, you know? So those are just a few things, but you're a delightful, really kind young lady. So I think you're doing pretty good so far. What do you think?
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Raela Thomas.
You're welcome.
This is a pretty good interview. Maybe you're going to be a journalist one day. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Hey, this is Keith Ellison from Affording Your Life with a special African American Black History Month edition.